Admiral Jake Morrison stood at the window of Earth Defense Station Sentinel. The station floated high above Earth, spinning slowly in the darkness of space. Below him, the blue and green planet looked peaceful. White clouds moved across the surface, like cotton balls. It was hard to believe that humans now lived on 12 different worlds among the stars. Jake had been in charge of Earth's defense for 5 years. Most days were quiet. Ships came and went between the colonies. Traders brought goods from the mining worlds. Scientists shared discoveries from the research stations. Life was good for humanity in the year 2387. The alarm started ringing at exactly 800 hours. Jake turned from the window and walked quickly to the control center. Lieutenant Danny Brooks was staring at his screen with wide eyes. "Sir, we have a problem," Danny said. His voice was shaking. "Something just appeared at the edge of our solar system." Jake looked at the main display. A red dot showed on the star map, far beyond Pluto. "How big is it?" "Very big, sir. Bigger than anything we've ever built. It's at least 10 times the size of our largest battleship." Jake felt his stomach drop. In all of human history, no alien ship had ever visited Earth. There had been theories and hopes, but no contact. "Are you sure it's not one of ours?" "Yes, sir. The design is completely unknown. And, sir, it just appeared out of nowhere. No jump signature, no warning. It was just suddenly there." The communication officer, Sergeant Lisa Hayes, called out from her station. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the unknown vessel." "Put it on the main screen," Jake ordered. The screen flickered and then showed a face that was clearly not human. The being had pale gray skin and large dark eyes. Its head was longer than a human head, and it had no visible nose or ears. When it spoke, its voice was cold and clear. "Humans of Earth, I am Ambassador Keth of the Valdorian Empire. Your species has been selected for integration into our great empire." Jake felt his blood turn to ice. The alien continued speaking in perfect English. "We have observed your expansion to 12 star systems. You have shown promise as a worker species. You will serve the Empire well." The alien's dark eyes seemed to look directly at Jake through the screen. "You have 72 of your planetary rotations to prepare for the arrival of our conquest fleet. This is your only warning." Jake wanted to say something, but his mouth felt dry. The alien was not finished. "You have 2 choices. Comply with our demands, and your deaths will be swift. We will keep your strongest people alive to work in our mines and factories. Resist our forces, and your suffering will be legendary. Every human world will burn. Your children will watch their parents die slowly." The alien leaned forward. "The Valdorian Empire has conquered 3,000 worlds. We do not negotiate. We do not show mercy. We do not fail." The transmission ended. The screen went black. The control center was completely silent. Jake stared at the empty screen. His mind was racing. 72 hours, 3 days. That was all. The time humanity had to prepare for war with an alien empire. "Sir?" Danny's voice was barely a whisper. "What do we do?" Jake turned to face his crew. They were all looking at him with fear in their eyes. These were good people, trained soldiers and officers. But they had never faced anything like this. "First, we contact Earth immediately. President Kane needs to know about this right now." Jake's voice was steady, but inside he was screaming. "Second, we send messages to all the colonies. Every human world needs to be warned." Lisa was already working at her station. "Sir, I'm sending priority messages to Earth and all 12 colonies. Should I include the full recording of the alien transmission?" "Yes, everyone needs to see exactly what we're facing." Jake walked back to the window. The alien ship was too far away to see with his eyes, but he knew it was there, watching, waiting. Sir, Danny called out, the alien ship is moving. Jake spun around. Where is it going? It's not going anywhere, sir. It's just turning, like it's scanning our solar system. Are there more ships? No, sir. Just the one. But, sir, if it's really from an empire that conquered 3,000 worlds, there will be more coming. Jake nodded. 3,000 worlds. The number was too big to understand. Humanity had struggled to colonize 12 systems over the past century. How could they fight an empire that controlled 3,000 worlds? Admiral, Lisa said, I'm getting responses from the colonies. They all received the same message at the same time. Every human world heard the same warning. That made sense. The aliens would want to scare all of humanity at once. No time to prepare, no time to plan. Just fear and a countdown to invasion. Jake's personal communicator buzzed. It was a direct call from Earth. Admiral Morrison, this is President Kane. I need you in the Situation Room immediately. How fast can you get here? I can be there in 6 hours, sir. Make it 4. We're calling an emergency session of the United Earth Council. Every colony, representative, every military leader, every scientist who might have ideas about fighting aliens. Jake could hear the stress in the president's voice. Sir, do you think this is real? Could it be some kind of test or trick? Admiral, I've been president for 8 years. I've seen every kind of crisis. This is real. And if that alien was telling the truth about conquering 3,000 worlds, we're in more trouble than humanity has ever faced. The call ended. Jake looked around the control center one more time. In 4 hours, he would be on Earth, planning for war. In 72 hours, the alien fleet would arrive. Danny, you have command of the station. Keep watching that alien ship. If it moves, if it does anything at all, contact me immediately. Yes, sir. Admiral, do you think we have a chance? Jake thought about the question. 3,000 worlds against 12. An empire that had never failed against a species that had never fought aliens. I don't know, Danny, but I know one thing. Humans don't give up easily. We've survived ice, ages, plagues, world wars, and the journey to the stars. We're not going to roll over and die just because some alien empire says we should. Jake headed for the shuttle bay. Earth was waiting. The war was coming. President Robert Kane stood at the head of the long table in the Situation Room. The room was packed with people. Every seat was taken, and more people stood along the walls. Colony representatives had rushed to Earth from 12 different star systems. Military leaders wore their dress uniforms. Scientists carried tablets full of data and theories. Ladies and gentlemen, President Kane began, 4 hours ago, humanity received its first contact with an alien species. That contact was a declaration of war. The room was silent. Everyone had seen the recording of Ambassador Keth and his cold warning. 72 hours to prepare for conquest. General Craig Thompson, the head of Earth's military, stood up. Mr. President, we need to know if this is real. Could this be some kind of elaborate hoax? Dr. Amanda Foster, Earth's top scientist, shook her head. General, we've analyzed the energy readings from the alien ship. The power output is unlike anything humans have ever built. The ship appeared without any jump signature we recognize. This is real. Admiral Morrison had arrived from the defense station just 30 minutes ago. He was still wearing his spacesuit. The alien ship is still there, watching us. It's been scanning our solar system for hours. Captain Ben Martinez spoke up from the back of the room. He commanded the mining colony on Kepler 442b, over 20 light years from Earth. Mr. President, we received the same message at the exact same time as Earth. So did every other colony. These aliens know exactly where we are and how many worlds we control. The weight of that information settled on everyone. The aliens had been watching humanity for who knows how long. They knew human strengths and weaknesses. What about our defenses? Asked Colonel Amy Davis, the head of Earth's ground forces. How many ships can we field? Admiral Morrison pulled up a holographic display showing Earth's fleet. We have 47 active warships in the solar system. The colonies have another 150 ships of various sizes. Most are cargo vessels or mining ships, but they can be armed. 200 ships, General Thompson said, against an empire that conquered 3,000 worlds. Those aren't good odds. We don't know how many ships they're bringing, Admiral. Morrison replied. The message only said a conquest fleet was coming. Dr. Peter Collins, a quantum physicist from the Luna Research Facility, raised his hand. Mr. President, I may have something that could help. My team has been working on theoretical weapon designs. We've never built them because we had no need. For weapons of war. But now ... What kind of weapons? President Kane asked. Quantum resonance disruptors. In simple terms, we can turn an enemy ship's own shields into a bomb. But the technology is untested and extremely dangerous. Captain Julie Banks, who commanded the fleet at Alpha Centauri, leaned forward. How dangerous. The ship firing the weapon would probably be destroyed in the process. It's essentially a suicide weapon. The room fell silent again. Suicide weapons. It had come to that already. There's something else, said Director Nick Foster from the Mars colony. 2 days ago, before the alien warning, we found something in the ancient ruins on Mars. We've been studying Martian artifacts for 50 years, but this is different. He activated a small device that projected a three-dimensional image. The shape was complex, covered in symbols that seemed to shift and move. We don't understand what it is, but it's giving off energy readings similar to the alien ship. It might be technology from another alien species that visited Mars millions of years ago. Dr. Foster studied the image. If we can figure out how it works, it might give us an advantage. But we need time to decode it. How much time? President Kane asked. At least a week. Maybe more. We have 68 hours, General Thompson said. Not a week. The president rubbed his forehead. Every option seemed impossible. What about evacuation? Can we move people to the outer colonies? Captain Martinez shook his head. Sir, we don't have enough transport ships. And if the aliens know about all our colonies, running won't help. Then we fight, Colonel Davis said simply. We make them pay for every world they want to take. Admiral Morrison nodded. The Colonel is right. We can't outrun them, and we can't hide from them. Fighting is our only option. But how do we fight an empire that's never been defeated? Asked Dr. Collins. We do what humans have always done, President Kane said. We adapt. We improvise. We find a way to survive. The president looked around the room at the faces of humanity's leaders. Fear was in their eyes, but also determination. Here's what we're going to do. Admiral Morrison, you'll coordinate our fleet defense. I want every ship we have ready for battle. Even the cargo ships get weapons. Yes, sir. General Thompson, prepare our ground defenses. If they get past our ships, we fight them on every world. Understood, sir. Dr. Collins, you have 68 hours to make your quantum weapons work. Use every scientist we have. I'll need materials and test facilities. You'll have whatever you need. Dr. Foster, keep working on that Martian artifact. Maybe our ancient neighbors left us something useful. The president stood up. Ladies and gentlemen, in 3 days, humanity faces its greatest challenge. We're outnumbered, outgunned, and fighting an enemy we know nothing about. But we have something they don't. Expect. What's that, sir? Asked Captain Banks. We have nothing to lose. They want to enslave us or kill us. That means we can fight with everything we have. No holding back, no retreat, no surrender. The room erupted in voices as people began making plans. Ship captains called their crews. Scientists contacted their research teams. Military officers started moving troops and weapons. Captain Tony Rivera, who commanded Earth's fastest scout ship, approached Admiral Morrison. "Sir, I want to request permission to spy on the alien ship. My ship is designed for stealth. Maybe I can learn something useful." "Too dangerous, Captain. If they catch you, we lose valuable intelligence about their capabilities." "With respect." "Sir, in 68 hours we're all dead anyway. Let me try." Admiral Morrison looked at the younger officer. Rivera was one of their best pilots. "Very well, but stay far away from that ship. Just observe and report back." As the meeting broke up, President Kane pulled Admiral Morrison aside. "Jake, what do you really think our chances are?" Admiral Morrison was quiet for a moment. "Honestly, sir, if they have the technology to conquer 3,000 worlds, we're facing something beyond our understanding. But humans have surprised enemies before." "How so?" "We don't fight the way other species might. We're unpredictable. We take risks that seem crazy. We don't give up even when we should. You think that might be enough?" "I think it's all we have, sir." "But sometimes all you have is enough." The president nodded. "Get our people ready, Admiral. In 3 days, we find out what humanity is really made of." As the leaders of humanity scattered to prepare for war, the alien ship continued its slow scan of the solar system. It had been watching for hours, learning about human defenses and weaknesses. The ship's commander was confident. No species had ever successfully resisted the Valdurian Empire, but the commander had never faced humans before. On Earth, families said goodbye to loved ones heading to space. Children asked why the grown-ups looked so scared. Scientists worked through the night on weapons that had never been tested. Soldiers cleaned their rifles and checked their armor. The countdown continued. 67 hours until the conquest fleet arrived. 67 hours to prepare for humanity's last stand. The timer on Admiral Morrison's screen showed exactly 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. 72 hours had passed since the alien warning. He stood on the bridge of his new flagship, the U's Defiance, watching the empty space at the edge of the solar system. "Admiral," Lieutenant Danny Brooks called out from his station. "We have energy readings building at multiple points around the solar system." "How many points?" 17 so far, sir." "No, wait. 23. The number keeps growing." Admiral Morrison felt his heart sink. Multiple arrival points meant a large fleet. A very large fleet. All ships. This is Admiral Morrison. Prepare for enemy arrival. Battle stations. Throughout the solar system, 200 human ships moved into position. It was every vessel humanity could find. Warships, cargo ships, mining vessels, even some luxury yachts with weapons bolted to their hulls. It looked impressive spread across space, but Morrison knew they were about to face something much larger. "Sir," Danny said, "the energy readings are spiking. Something big is about to happen." Space began to shimmer at dozens of points around the solar system. The darkness twisted and bent. Then, one by one, alien ships began to appear. The first ship was massive. It was the same vessel that had delivered the warning 3 days ago. But now Morrison could see it clearly. It was shaped like a black crystal, smooth and sharp. It was easily 10 times larger than any human ship. "My God," whispered Captain Helen Wright from the bridge of the UES Thunder. Her voice came through. "The communication system. Look at the size of that thing." But the first ship was just the beginning. More ships appeared, dozens of them, then hundreds. Each one was different, but all were clearly built by the same alien empire. Some looked like metal spears. Others were round like planets. A few seemed to be made of living metal that moved and shifted. Sir, Danny's voice was shaking. I count over 300 alien vessels. The largest one is bigger than Earth's moon. Admiral Morrison stared at the enemy fleet. In his worst nightmares, he had never imagined anything like this. The aliens had brought enough ships to conquer 100 worlds. All ships, this is Morrison. Hold your positions. Do not fire unless fired upon. Captain Tony Rivera's voice came over the radio from his stealth ship, the U.E.'s Shadow. Admiral, I'm reading energy signatures from those ships that are off our scale. Some of them are putting out more power than our entire fleet combined. Understood, Captain. Keep monitoring. And stay hidden. The alien fleet moved into formation with perfect precision. Every ship knew exactly where to go. They had done this before. Many times. A communication signal came from the largest alien ship. Admiral Morrison accepted it. The screen on his bridge showed the same gray alien face they had seen 3 days ago. I am High Admiral Zeth of the Valdorian Empire, the alien said. I command this conquest fleet. You are Admiral Morrison of the Human Defense Force. Morrison was surprised the alien knew his name. Yes, I am. You have seen our fleet. You understand that resistance is pointless. Order your ships to stand. Down. Your people will be processed quickly. What does processed mean? The strong will become workers. The weak will be eliminated. Your species will serve the Empire. Morrison looked around his bridge. His crew was watching him. Every human in the fleet was listening to this conversation. The future of humanity depended on his next words. High Admiral Zeth, I have a message for you and your empire. Humanity rejects your offer. The alien's dark eyes showed surprise. You choose to fight, even facing certain destruction? We choose to remain free. If you want our worlds, you'll have to take them. Very well. Your suffering begins now. The communication ended. For a moment, space was silent. Then the alien fleet opened fire. The first wave of alien weapons lit up the darkness. Beams of energy that looked like liquid lightning struck the human outer defense ring. The automated weapon platforms and missile launchers that Earth had built over the past 3 days simply disappeared. 1 second they were there, the next they were gone. All ships, engage the enemy, Morrison commanded. The human fleet charged forward. It was not a careful, planned attack. It was a desperate rush by people who knew they were probably going to die. The U's Thunder was the first to fire. Captain Wright's ship launched everything it had at the nearest alien vessel. Missiles and energy beams struck the alien ship's shields. The weapons that could destroy a human battleship barely made the alien shields flicker. The alien ship returned fire. A single beam of red light touched the Thunder. The human ship exploded in a ball of fire and metal. Right, Morrison shouted. But it was too late. The Thunder and her crew of 200 people were gone. All around the solar system, the same thing was happening. Human ships fired everything they had at the aliens. The alien weapons destroyed human ships with single shots. Sir, Danny called out, we've lost 12 ships in the first minute. The alien shields are too strong. Morrison watched his fleet being destroyed. Every ship that died took good people with it, friends he had known for years. But they kept fighting. Sir, the communication officer said, Captain Rivera is reporting something strange. The aliens are not attacking all our ships at once. They're being careful. What do you mean? They're destroying our ships one by one, like they're studying how we fight. Morrison realized the aliens were treating this like a training exercise. They were learning about human tactics while destroying the human fleet. All ships, new orders. Execute Battle Plan Gamma. Battle Plan Gamma was something Captain Wright had suggested during the preparation meetings. Instead of fighting the aliens the way they expected, the human ships would do something crazy. The remaining human ships suddenly stopped trying to destroy the alien vessels. Instead, they focused all their fire on the alien communication relays, the small antenna-like structures on the alien ships that allowed them to coordinate their attacks. The aliens were not expecting this. Their shields were designed to protect against weapons aimed at their main hulls. The communication relays were less protected. Human missiles began hitting the alien communication systems. The enemy fleet's perfect coordination started to break. "Down, sir," Danny said with excitement. "It's working. The aliens are having trouble talking to each other." But the victory was short-lived. High Admiral Zeth's flagship fired a weapon that Morrison had never seen before. A wave of energy spread out from the alien ship like ripples in a pond. Every human ship it touched simply stopped working. "What happened?" Morrison demanded. "All systems are shutting down, sir. Engines, weapons, life support, everything." Around the solar system, the human fleet was floating dead in space. 200 ships reduced to metal coffins in a matter of seconds. High Admiral Zeth appeared on Morrison's screen again. "Impressive, Admiral Morrison. Most species do not adapt their tactics during battle. You are more clever than expected. Are you going to kill us now?" "Not yet. You have shown something interesting. Your species fights differently." "We wish to study this." Morrison felt a chill. "What do you mean?" "You will be our test subjects. We will learn how humans fight. Then we will use that knowledge to conquer other worlds more efficiently." The screen went dark. Morrison looked around his bridge. His crew was staring at him with fear and anger. "Sir," Danny said quietly, "what do we do now?" Morrison looked out at the alien fleet. Hundreds of ships that could destroy planets. An empire that had never been defeated. But they had made one mistake. They had left the humans alive. "We do what humans do best, Danny. We survive. And we find a way to fight back." In the distance, the alien fleet began moving toward Earth. The invasion was about to begin. But something had changed. The aliens were no longer certain of an easy victory. For the first time in their history, the Valdorian Empire faced an enemy that refused to surrender. Even when faced with certain death, humans kept fighting. High Admiral Zeth did not yet understand what that meant, but he was about to learn. Admiral Morrison floated in the dark bridge of the U.E.'s Defiance. The alien weapon had shut down every system on his ship. No power, no engines, no weapons. Around him, his crew worked by the light of emergency flashlights, trying to restart their systems. "Sir," Danny Brooks whispered, "I'm getting power back to the communication system. It's weak, but it's working." "Good. Contact the other ships. Find out who's still alive." While Danny worked, Morrison looked out at the alien fleet. The massive ships were moving toward Earth like a slow-moving storm. Some of the smaller alien vessels were heading toward the human colonies. The invasion had begun. "Sir," the communication officer said, "I'm getting reports from 17 ships. Most systems are still down, but the crews are alive." 17 ships out of 200. Morrison felt sick. So many good people were dead. But 17 ships meant 17 crews that could still fight. "Danny, can you reach Earth?" "Yes, sir. I have President Kane on the line." The president's voice was full of static, but Morrison could hear him. "Admiral, what's your status?" "We're alive, sir. Barely. The alien weapon shut down our ships, but we're getting some systems back online." "What about Earth's defenses?" "The aliens are landing troops in 6 major cities. General Thompson is coordinating the ground defense. But they're using weapons we can't match." Morrison could hear explosions in the background. The battle for Earth had begun. "Sir," Danny said, I'm getting a signal from the Lunar Research Facility. Dr. Collins says he has something for us. The scientist's voice came through the radio. Admiral, we've finished the quantum resonance disruptors. They work, but like I said, they're suicide weapons. The ship that fires one will be destroyed. How many could you make? 12. We can get them to your remaining ships if you can get close enough to Luna. Morrison thought quickly. 12 suicide weapons against 300 alien ships. The math was terrible, but it was better than nothing. Dr. Collins, we'll be there in 1 hour. Have the weapons ready. Admiral, came another voice. It was Captain Rivera from his stealth ship. I have an idea. The aliens are sending there troops to the planet's surface, but they're not expecting an attack from inside their own fleet. What are you thinking? My ship is still hidden. I can get close to their flagship, maybe even get inside. That's suicide, Captain. Maybe, but if I can upload a virus into their computer systems, it might give us an advantage. Morrison knew. Rivera was right. The aliens were so confident they weren't watching for attacks from inside their own formation. Do it, Captain, but be careful. We need that intelligence. While Rivera's ship moved silently toward the alien flagship, Morrison ordered his remaining ships to head for Luna. The human vessels moved slowly, most of their systems still damaged from the alien weapon. On Earth's surface, the battle was brutal. Colonel Amy Davis crouched behind a destroyed car in downtown New York. Around her, her soldiers fired at the alien troops with everything they had. The alien soldiers were tall and thin, wearing armor that seemed to absorb human bullets. Their weapons fired beams of energy that could cut through concrete walls. But they moved slowly, like they were used to enemies that ran away. Davis to all units, she spoke into her radio. Use hit-and-run tactics. Don't let them corner you. Make them chase you through the buildings. Her soldiers were learning fast. The aliens were stronger and had better weapons, but they didn't know the city. Human troops used subways and sewers to move around. They attacked from rooftops and basements. They made the aliens fight for every street. Ma'am, Sergeant Dan Harper said, the aliens are calling for reinforcements. They're having trouble with our tactics. Good. Keep them confused. The longer we can hold out, the more time our people have to prepare. In space, Captain Rivera's stealth ship approached the alien flagship. The massive vessel was so large it had its own gravity field. Rivera could see smaller alien ships moving in and out of landing bays. This is Rivera to Admiral Morrison. I'm at the flagship. I can see a way inside. Be careful, Captain. If they catch you, we lose our best intelligence officer. Understood, sir. Rivera's ship slipped into one of the flagship's landing bays. The area was full of alien fighters, but no one seemed to notice one more small ship. Rivera and his team of 5 volunteers put on spacesuits and left their ship. The inside of the alien ship was strange. The walls curved in ways that hurt to look at. The lighting was a color that didn't exist on Earth, but Rivera's team moved carefully through the corridors, looking for the ship's computer center. Captain, whispered Maria Santos, his technical specialist, I'm reading massive computer networks throughout this ship. If we can access their main system, we might be able to do real damage. They found what they were looking for in the center of the ship, a room full of crystal-like structures that pulsed with information. Rivera had never seen anything like it, but Santos immediately understood what they were looking at. This is their tactical network, she said. Every ship in their fleet is connected to this system. If I can upload our virus here, it will spread to all their ships. How long do you need? Give me 10 minutes. Rivera and his team stood guard while Santos worked. The virus they had brought was based on human computer techniques. It was designed to exploit the aliens' overconfidence in their technology. Done. Santos said, the virus is uploaded. It will activate when they try to coordinate their next major attack. Let's get out of here. But as they tried to leave, alien security forces found them. The corridor filled with tall, armored figures carrying energy weapons. Run! Rivera shouted. His team scattered through the alien ship. 2 of his people were killed in the first exchange of fire. Rivera and Santos made it back to their ship, but they were being chased. Captain, Santos said as they reached their ship, I'm reading massive system failures throughout the alien fleet. The virus is working. Rivera looked at the displays in the landing bay. Alien ships were losing power. Their perfect formation was breaking apart. The virus was spreading faster than the aliens could stop it. Rivera to Admiral Morrison. The virus is working. The alien fleet is in chaos. Excellent work, Captain. Get out of there. But as Rivera's ship tried to leave the alien flagship, High Admiral Zeth himself appeared on their communication screen. Clever humans, the alien commander said. You fight like no species we have encountered, but your tricks will not save you. Maybe not, Rivera replied, but they'll make you pay a price for conquering us. The alien commander looked thoughtful. Yes, you will make us pay. That is ... interesting. Rivera's ship escaped the alien flagship and raced back toward the human fleet. Behind him, the alien vessels were struggling to regain control of their systems. At Luna, Admiral Morrison's ships were taking on the quantum resonance disruptors. The weapons looked like simple metal cylinders, but Dr. Collins assured him they would work. Remember, the scientist said, once you fire these weapons, your ship will be destroyed. The quantum reaction can't be stopped. Morrison looked at his remaining ship commanders. 17 brave men and women who knew they were about to die. This is our chance, he told them. We can't defeat their entire fleet, but we can show them that humans don't surrender. We can make them remember this day. Captain Kate Murphy, commander of the UES Lightning, spoke for all of them. Admiral, we are ready. Let's show these aliens what humans are made of. The 17 human ships spread out across the solar system. Each one carried a quantum resonance disruptor. Each crew knew they were flying their last mission. All ships, this is Admiral Morrison. Target the largest alien vessels. Fire on my command. The human ships approached the alien fleet. The aliens were still trying to recover from the virus. Attack. Their shields were flickering. Their weapons were offline. It was the perfect moment to strike. Fire. Morrison commanded. 17 quantum resonance disruptors fired at once. The weapons struck the alien ships and activated their quantum fields. The alien shields, designed to protect against normal weapons, became bombs. 17 alien ships exploded in brilliant flashes of light. The largest ones were completely destroyed. The smaller ones were badly damaged. And 17 human ships disappeared with them. Morrison watched his friends die as heroes. They had taken down some of the enemy's most powerful vessels. But more importantly, they had shown the aliens that humans would never stop fighting. High Admiral Zeth stared at the destruction on his screens. In one attack, he had lost some of his best ships. The humans had turned their own shields against them. Sir, one of his officers said, the humans are using tactics we have never seen. They sacrifice themselves to damage us. No species has ever done this. Zeth was silent for a long moment. In 3,000 conquests, he had never faced an enemy like this. The humans were weak individually, but they fought with a determination. That was almost frightening. Recall all landing forces, he ordered. We need to reconsider our approach. On Earth, Colonel Davis received the order to fall back. The alien troops were retreating to their ships. For the first time in the battle, humans had forced the aliens to withdraw, but the war was far from over. The aliens still had hundreds of ships. Earth's defenses were badly damaged. And now both sides knew they were fighting an enemy unlike any they had faced before. The real battle was just beginning. High Admiral Zeth stood in his command center, looking at the reports from his damaged fleet. In 3 days of fighting, he had lost 30 ships and over 10,000 troops. The humans had lost almost everything, but they were still fighting. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "the human colonies are sending reinforcements. We're detecting new fleets approaching from 3-star systems." Zeth studied the tactical display. The human ships were smaller and fewer than his remaining vessels, but he had learned not to underestimate them. "How many ships?" "Approximately 150 vessels, sir. Most appeared to be converted civilian ships." Zeth felt something he had never experienced in 30 years of conquest: uncertainty. Every other species had surrendered after losing half their forces. The humans had lost 90% of their fleet and were still bringing more ships to fight. Captain Julie Banks led the relief fleet from Alpha Centauri. Her ships were a mix of cargo vessels, mining ships, and a few actual warships. They had been traveling at maximum speed for 3 days, racing to reach Earth before it fell. "Captain," her communication officer said, "we're receiving a transmission from Earth. It's Admiral Morrison." Morrison's face appeared on the screen. He looked tired and injured, but his eyes were still determined. "Captain Banks, what's your status?" "We have 147 ships, Admiral. Not much compared to what the aliens brought, but we're ready to fight." "Good. We've learned a few things about fighting these aliens. They're not used to enemies that don't give up." "What are your orders, sir?" "Join up with the remaining Earth forces. We're going to try something that's never been done before." While the human reinforcements moved into position, Commander Steve Walsh brought his own fleet from the mining colonies. His ships weren't warships at all. They were industrial vessels designed to cut apart asteroids and move massive amounts of rock and metal. "Walsh to Morrison," he called over the radio. "We've got some equipment that might interest you. Mining charges, cutting lasers, and mass drivers. Not military weapons, but they might work against alien ships." Morrison smiled for the first time. "In days, Commander, you might be exactly what we need." The plan that Morrison and his remaining officers developed was simple and completely insane. Instead of trying to fight the aliens in a traditional space battle, they would use human industry and engineering to turn space itself into a weapon. Walsh's mining ships began setting up a network of explosives throughout the solar system. Not small bombs, but massive charges designed to crack apart asteroids. They placed them along the routes the alien ships used to move between planets. At the same time, Captain Banks' ships began something even more dangerous. They started ramming alien vessels. "Banks to all ships," she broadcast. "Remember, we're not trying to destroy them with weapons. We're trying to damage them with our ships themselves. Hit their weak points and jump away before they can respond." The tactic was terrifying to watch. Human ships would accelerate to maximum speed and crash into alien vessels. Most of the human ships were destroyed in the process, but they caused significant damage to the much larger alien ships. High Admiral Zeth watched in horror as a human cargo ship loaded with explosives rammed into one of his cruisers. Both ships exploded, but the alien ship was completely destroyed, while the humans had willingly sacrificed their vessel. "Sir," his tactical officer said, "the humans are using kamikaze tactics. They're treating their own ships as weapons." "That's impossible. No rational species would sacrifice their ships deliberately." "Sir, they're also broadcasting messages while they attack. Audio and visual recordings." "Show me." The main screen displayed the final transmission from the human ship that had just crashed into the alien cruiser. A young human woman was speaking, calmly while explosions lit up around her. "This is Captain Lisa Hayes of the cargo ship New Dawn. To anyone listening, tell my family I love them. And to the aliens watching this, remember that every human ship you destroy takes one of your ships with it. We will never surrender. Earth will never fall. The transmission ended as both ships exploded. Zeth stared at the empty screen. In 3,000 conquests, he had never seen anything like this. The humans were fighting with a determination that bordered on madness. "Sir," another officer reported, "we're receiving a transmission from the human Admiral Morrison. He wants to speak. With you. Put him on screen." Morrison appeared, standing on what looked like a damaged bridge. Behind him, his crew was working frantically to keep their systems running. "Hi, Admiral Zeth," Morrison said. "I have a proposal for you. You are in no position to make proposals, human. Your fleet is destroyed. Your planet is defenseless." "Is it? Look around you. How many ships have you lost? How many of your troops are dead? We may be losing, but we're making you pay a price no other species ever has." Zeth looked at his tactical display. Morrison was right. The alien fleet had been cut in half. Thousands of Valdorian troops were dead. Ships that had conquered dozens of worlds were floating as wreckage in space. What do you propose? A ceasefire. Both sides stop fighting and we talk. The Valdorian Empire does not negotiate with inferior species. Morrison laughed, but there was no humor in it. Inferior? We've destroyed half your fleet with cargo ships and mining equipment. You're superior. Empire is being held off by one primitive species. You cannot win. Even if you destroy every ship I have, more will come. The Empire has thousands of fleets. Maybe, but how many fleets are you willing to lose? How many of your people are you willing to sacrifice to conquer one stubborn species? Zeth was silent. Morrison continued. You called us inferior, but we've shown you something your empire has never seen. We've shown you what happens when people fight for their freedom. Every species you've conquered gave up when the cost became too high. We don't know how to give up. What are you asking for? Leave our worlds alone. Find other species to conquer. Ones that won't cost you half your fleet. Zeth looked around his command center. His officers were watching him carefully. In the entire history of the Valdorian Empire, no commander had ever been asked to retreat from a weaker species. But the humans weren't really weaker, were they? They had inferior technology and fewer ships, but they fought with something the Empire had never encountered. They fought with the absolute refusal to accept defeat. Admiral Morrison, Zeth said slowly, your species is ... unusual. In 3,000 conquests, we have never faced an enemy like you. And you never will again. There's only one human species in the galaxy. Indeed, very well. I will consider your proposal. The transmission ended. Zeth turned to his officers. What is our current status? Sir, we have lost 47 ships and 15,000 troops. The humans have destroyed themselves fighting us, but they've inflicted massive casualties on our forces. And if we continue fighting? Sir, based on their tactics, we estimate we could lose another 30 to 40 ships before we completely defeat them. Possibly more if additional human reinforcements arrive. Zeth thought about those numbers. Losing nearly half his fleet to conquer one world would be the worst military disaster in Empire history. Other species would hear about it. Some might decide to resist instead of surrendering. Sir, his communication officer said, we're receiving a priority message from the Empire capital. They want a status report. Zeth knew what that message would contain. Questions about why the conquest was taking so long. Demands for a quick victory. The Empire leaders had never imagined that a primitive species could cause so much trouble. Open a channel to Admiral Morrison. Zeth ordered. Morrison appeared on screen again. Have you made a decision? I have. The Valdorian Empire hereby offers Humanity a choice. Join our empire as a protectorate species. You will keep your worlds and your government, but you will serve our interests when called upon. And if we refuse, then we continue fighting until one of us is completely destroyed. Morrison was quiet for a long moment. I need to consult with my government. You have 1 hour. An hour later, President Kane's voice came over the communication system. Hi, Admiral Zeth. This is President Kane of Earth. We've considered your offer, and we reject it. Humanity will not serve your empire in any capacity. But we have a counteroffer. State it. You leave our space immediately. You never return. And you tell every species in your empire about what happened here. Tell them that humans fought you to a standstill. Tell them that resistance is possible. That is unacceptable. Then we keep fighting. But remember, every ship you lose here is one less ship you have to conquer other worlds. How long can your empire afford to fight species that refuse to surrender? Zeth looked at his tactical display one more time. The human reinforcements were still arriving. More ships converted from civilian use. More crews willing to die, rather than surrender. For the first time in the history of the Valdorian Empire, a conquest fleet was facing the possibility of complete destruction by an inferior enemy. Admiral Morrison, Zeth said finally, your species has earned something no other has achieved. You have earned our respect. Does that mean you're leaving? It means we are reconsidering our position. The Empire will need to develop new strategies for dealing with species like yours. Species like us. Species that refuse to accept defeat. Species that fight for their freedom, Riga.